And the third guy was Bucky Baxter. And Bucky Baxter is a guy who is a pedal steel guitar player, he played with Bob Dylan for 8 or 9 years. He played with Ryan Adams, not Brian, Ryan, with the Beastie Boys, with REM, I think, Steve Earle. And this guy had a studio in the countryside around Nashville. And it was, when I saw the studio, I said, okay, this is where I want to do it. Everything was perfect, you know. It was not very fancy studio. It was very good equipment, very old, but the vibe was perfect. It was like in wood. He built himself with his hands, you know. It was like a great place. And after I came back to France, and we keep in touch by emails, and I sent to Bucky a compilation of the music I like, the country music I like, to have a better idea from what I was looking for. First, I show him my song, of course, you know. But after, when I came back to Paris, we stayed in contact, and I told him, okay, I'm looking this kind of musician, and he introduced me to all the musicians who were on the album. So the musicians were really happy to come, and it's mostly the singer, which was a little bit hard at the beginning to have singers, because it's another commitment for the singers. You know, they perform, but they have to be, after, if there is promo to do, they can do it also. You know, it's another commitment. So at the beginning we didn't have so many singers, you know, because nobody knew me, and there was a French guy from Paris doing country music, so it was a little bit weird, you know. But because it's a very small town, it's in 1 week, in less than 1 week, there was started to be word of mouth, a buzz around the project, and people start to call Bucky in the studio to say, hey, I heard about it. There is a cool thing that you're doing in the studio with somebody from Europe, and so oh, can I come just to hear? And after the sessions, that's why it became the Moonshine Session, because it became really sessions where the people came, spending all their evening there in the studio, you know, trying to try these songs. You know, everybody was trying things, you know, and it was a really free kind of country laboratory in a way, the music laboratory. So they're not used to that, and they were extremely happy. So that's why they didn't act like mercenaries, you know. They didn't. Generally in America, if you do a session, they play, they get the cash, goodbye, thank you, and never come back. And exactly the opposite what happened for the Moonshine Session. They came back, and they come at the weekend. They came also with their wife and children sometime, you know, to listen to the songs. And Bucky told me, you know, it's never happening. Never.
How come?
Never.
How come this happened then?
I don't know. That was really a special vibe. I don't know. It sounds a bit cliche to say that, but I have to say that Bucky was always saying that God is with us. They are really believers there, you know. And I'm not really a believer, what I call a believer, you know. So at the beginning, when Bucky said God is with us, I say, yeah, Bucky, yeah, sure. I was laughing in a way, you know, and I said, yeah, okay. And after he said, no, Philippe, I'm sure, you know, because there is a sort of spirit of communion that, and all the album was, all the recordings were made like a puzzle, you know. Everything was coming, boom, from like a sort of chemistry or alchemy, you know. And I did many albums before. It was the first time I experienced that, you know, a sort of strong vibe in the recordings, you know. And so at the end of the recordings, you know, I was really start to be, I was doubting, you know, like, wow, strange, yeah, something really special happening, you know. And I don't believe so much, you know, but I can believe when it's about music. For example, when I'm listening Marvin Gaye album, What's Going On, when I'm listening on the headphones, you say, oh yeah, he's not alone. You feel something beyond his talent and genius, you know, he's a genius, but beyond, he made a lot of albums, and this album is really special, and it's really inspired by something from above, you know. And he was saying that, you know, Marvin Gaye during the recordings, and so I believe I understand very well the possibility that sometime in music you are facing something different, like a sort of force, different force. and they were totally convinced about that. All the people who were recording on the album. I was the last to be convinced, you know. At the end of the
You were the last
sessions,
believer.
I was the last believer, really. And at the end, when I came back to France, you know, after, I was like, just in a way, in a shock, you know, saying, wow, it's happened something strange that I never experienced before, you know. And we have to say also that before the sessions, every day, Bucky and me, we walk in the nature, and we talk about God, about philosophy, and it was really interesting to do the recordings by this way, you know, to have a more spiritual, this kind of spirituality, and that this is also something which is part of country music, really part of country music, you know.
Okay.